This podcast is a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to find out more. Hello everybody, just a little check-in episode here with a few little notices. First of all, a reminder that the live show on February 4th, tickets are selling. If you're in Melbourne, would love to see you down there. Make sure you grab a ticket. radiomike.com.au/tickets is the best way for you to get the only way for you to get your tickets. But yeah, come along. It'll be a really fun night. Sammy Garlep will be there. I really hope you guys come along. It's going to be great. We're selling a bunch of tickets. Would love to sell a few more. So yeah, please come along. A few other things. The podcast will be back officially it's going to be the 24th of January. So it's not this coming Tuesday, it'll be the next Tuesday. And then basically there'll be that episode, there'll be an episode on the 31st, and then the next ep, the live ep, will be Saturday the 4th. And that'll come out on Tuesday the 7th if you don't come, but definitely come so you can see it live. There will be audience participation, getting you guys on air. There'll be a few little musical numbers. There'll be a bunch of stuff. We're really looking forward to it. So definitely come along and looking forward to the podcast being back on the 24th of January. But guys, over this year, I would love for you guys to pick up 20th Century Boy, my other podcast. This podcast, Harry Potter and the Boys, is actually a spin-off. It is actually, a spin-off of 20th Century Boy. This concept of reading out my Harry Potter fan fiction started on 20th Century Boy. And then I was like, this is good and people love this. I'm going to make it its own podcast. So that was a long time ago. But season 5 of 20th Century Boy begins on Thursday, the 19th of January. That's a perfect place for you to start off the podcast. Every year is kind of like a fresh slate. There's nothing heaps that's going to carry over. But if you do want to just binge a bunch of episodes, I recommend starting from the first episode of season 4, which was the start of 2022. I do not recommend personally going back to the very start of the pod because personally I cringe at it a lot. But I would love for you to check out the podcast and go back to season 4, episode 1, what the hell has been going on in Australia in 2022, and just see the whole year through. I think the podcast is getting better and better, and if you don't know what it's about, it is the conversations you wish you were having about the stuff that no one else cares about. All things pop culture, nerd culture, everything millennial, everything, that you grew up with, chatting about the news and current events and social commentary on things that are going on. And yeah, I would love for you to check it out. If you like me on this pod, it's a very similar humor, and I'd love for you to make that a podcast you listen to in 2023. And I am really keen to do another year of that podcast. So yeah, there is a few more announcements coming for Harry Potter and the Boys in the first episode of it's not season 3, it's year 3, season 2 still, because the seasons of the books. So yeah, really looking forward to giving you those announcements. But the main thing for now is the live show and introducing you to 20th Century Boy, a podcast that I think you will really, really like and is a really good supplement to this podcast. Some of the topics we talked about on season 4 of the podcast, we talked about The Lord of the Rings, we talked about Spotify and the Joe Rogan saga, we talked about the Elvis Presley movie that came out. What else did we talk about? There's so many different things. We talked about the new Batman movie, the Halo TV show, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, Fantastic Beasts 3, Hilary Duff, comparing Melbourne and Sydney. Melbourne's way better. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Harry Styles' new album, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. We ended up on the Kyle and Jackie O show, the biggest radio show in Australia. Stranger Things, the Buzz Lightyear movie. Grand Theft Auto 6, the Black Eyed Peas, Ed Sheeran collaborating with Pokemon, the Super Mario Bros. Movie. We then got featured in the Wall Street Journal podcast, which was huge. I went to Halloween as Princess Leia. We talked about the Weird Al Yankovic movie. I got sponsored by Tiger typo for my 28th birthday. I talked about how I became a professional podcast producer. I talked about Kanye West, Sum 41, Ash Ketchum leaving the Pokemon anime. Every single big pop culture story in the nerd culture world we cover. Please check it out. Funny takes. And also lots of fun little story arcs, such as Mike's big year of premieres, where I basically kept complaining that I wasn't being invited to movie premieres here in Melbourne, and I wrote emails to Disney, Warner Brothers, and various other movie studios, and now I get invited to movie premieres, and that was a big saga on the show. So would love for you to pick it up. It's a lot of fun. We've got a great community around the podcast, just like this one, and yeah, I'd be really keen to have you on board in 2023. All right, guys, see you very, very soon. Next ep is on the 24th. Oh, one more thing. I am actually seeing Harry Potter and the Cursed Child again tonight. But it is now the one-part version. Last time I saw the two-part version, now it's the one-part version. So excited to see it. I'm taking my mum and dad as a late Christmas present for them and a birthday present for my mum. So can't wait, and I'll probably do a little bonus podcast about it afterwards, talking about what I thought on the second time, and whether I think it works better as a two-part than a one-part, all of that. So stay tuned for that very soon. I'm really excited to see it. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you soon. This podcast was a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to check out all our other content, stay up to date at radio.mike on Instagram, and get in touch, radiomikepod@gmail.com.